Welcome back to the channel Barça News World. From contract terminations to internal tension and legal controversies, things are getting intense at FC Barcelona this preseason. Midfielder Oriol Romeu could have his contract terminated as Hansi Flick clears space for the future. Club captain Marc-André Ter Stegen is not only at risk of losing his starting spot, he might lose his jersey number and leave the club altogether. Young right-back Hector Fort faces disciplinary heat after arriving late to medical tests, challenging Flick's no-nonsense leadership. Lamine Yamal is in serious legal trouble after his 18th birthday party sparked public outrage and a potential investigation by the Spanish government. Meanwhile, Camp Nou passed its latest La Liga inspection, with plans on track for a grand return this September against Valencia. Stick around as we break down every twist in this action-packed summer at Barça. An out-of-favor member of the midfield ranks at La Liga champions Barcelona is expected to see his contract terms terminated over the coming weeks. That's according to Mundo Deportivo, who highlight Oriol Romeu as the player in question. Midfielder Romeu has for his part seen his name re-emerge as a prominent one in Catalonia's capital over the last 24 hours. This comes after the 33-year-old joined the rest of Hansi Flick's squad at Barcelona's training base to undergo a round of preseason medical tests and scans. Romeu, for his part, spent this past season out on loan away from the Blaugrana, with Catalan rivals Girona. Despite his appearance at the Ciutat Esportiva Joan García, though, the former Southampton man remains out of the plans of manager Flick. In turn, as per a report from MD, with interest in Romeu's services at an all-time low. His departure is stalled, and everything indicates that the most likely option is to terminate his contract. Barcelona have returned to work ahead of the new season, and on day one Hansi Flick has been forced to show his hard-edged discipline. It was young right-back Hector Fort that got himself into trouble. The Blaugrana were back in training for preseason on Sunday, with the club carrying out medical tests on their players. A number of their players have already returned to training early, including goalkeepers Marc-André Ter Stegen and Joan García, Ronald Araujo and Marc Bernal. Hector Fort provokes Hansi Flick ire. One player that did not return early was Hector Fort. Diario AS detailed that Fort, 18, arrived late for his medical tests, and was reprimanded by Flick. The German coach made timeliness one of his strictest rules, benching Jules Koundé on 3 occasions for being late to team meetings, as well as Inaki Peña. It remains to be seen whether Flick will take further action, but in every previous case, it was punished with a benching. Despite celebrating his 18th birthday just hours earlier, Lamine Yamal showed up to Barca's training ground on time and ready for preseason duties. However, while he avoided any internal discipline from the club for lateness, he could be facing a different kind of trouble. The Spanish government has now called for an official investigation into the birthday event, following reports that people with dwarfism were allegedly hired for entertainment. Hector Fort's difficult predicament. There had been some suggestion that Fort could be on his way out of Barcelona this summer, with interest from Como and the Netherlands, but he has rejected the idea, instead looking to fight for his spot. Yet Flick barely rested Jules Koundé last season, and towards the end of the year, during the Frenchman's injury, Joan García was preferred at right-back to Fort. Earlier this year, Hector Fort visibly showed his frustration toward Hansi Flick following Barcelona's 4-3 win over Celta Vigo in April, upset over his limited playing time. The German coach didn't let it slide either, choosing to publicly call out Fort for his reaction and reinforce his strict standards for discipline and professionalism. Meanwhile, off the pitch, there's some positive news regarding Camp Nou. According to Mundo Deportivo, La Liga officials conducted a key inspection of the stadium's ongoing renovations last week. The league was reportedly satisfied with the progress, and everything appears to be on schedule for a September reopening, with Barcelona expected to host Valencia in their first game back at their iconic home. La Liga representatives visited Spotify Camp Nou to assess the progress of the ongoing renovation and ensure it meets the requirements for hosting official matches. The visit follows a similar inspection by UEFA on June 17, which had given a green signal regarding the pace and standard of construction. According to the report, the league officials were satisfied with the current state of work and confirmed that the stadium is on track to welcome back top-flight action on the weekend of September 13 or 14. With Valencia set to be Barca's first opponents at home. The club's executives walked La Liga through vital logistics such as access routes for players, staff and emergency services, as well as technical facilities for referees and broadcasters. The temporary press box, set up at the top of the grandstand, is also nearing completion. VIP seats in focus. A major focus of the inspection was the newly built VIP area in the first tier of the grandstand. All 475 seats have now been installed and protected with covers to shield them from dust as remaining construction continues. These VIP boxes play a key role in Barcelona's financial planning. The club are targeting a return to La Liga's 1:1 financial fair play rule by early August. A key audit is expected to include €100 million from the sale of hospitality rights to Fertia Advisor and New Era Visionary Group. FC Barcelona are focused and determined to have a squad for next season that can truly compete for everything. Whereas last season saw the side exceed all expectations, this upcoming campaign will be different. This time around, everyone will be out to get Barcelona. Back at the top is one of the sides to be reckoned with. La Blaugrana need to stay vigilante in the upcoming campaign. Any slip-up could prove to be costly, and that is why the club wants to take no chances whatsoever. That's why Barcelona have moved quickly to bring in a new goalkeeper, with Joan García already joining the squad. It's now clear that the club intends to make him the first-choice shot stopper, signaling a major shift between the posts. Naturally, this is a huge blow for Marc-André Ter Stegen, who has been Barca's #1 for years. And while he currently wants to stay and fight for his place, reports from SER suggest that his agent has already started exploring other club options, just in case the situation changes, or the goalkeeper decides it's time to move on. However, what is for sure is that the 33-year-old player's current issues with the club are creating tension within Barcelona. The sooner this problem gets resolved, the better it would be for all the involved parties, including Ter Stegen himself. After all, the next edition of the FIFA World Cup is scheduled for next year, and Ter Stegen wants to be there as the starting goalkeeper. However, to do that, he would need minutes this season, or else he could end up seeing his starting spot be given to some other player if he simply sits on the bench the whole season. Barcelona believes he will end up leaving. At this point, it's not just Ter Stegen's starting position that's at risk, he might also lose his iconic jersey number. With Joan García arriving and already being backed as the new #1, there's a real possibility that Barcelona could reassign Ter Stegen's shirt, signaling a full shift in the goalkeeping hierarchy. To make matters worse, there's uncertainty about whether he'll even be second choice. With Wojciech Szczesny recently extending his contract, it's clear the club sees him as another reliable option, pushing Ter Stegen even further down the pecking order. Yet, due to the incentive of playing at the World Cup for Germany, Barcelona believes the player will eventually end up leaving this summer. However, the Catalan giants are also aware that even if that ends up happening, they would have to pay some kind of concession to the player in relation to his pending salary over the years left on his contract. Oriol Romeu's days at Barça are numbered, with contract termination looking likely. Ter Stegen's future is uncertain, and the World Cup could be a deciding factor in whether he stays or goes. Hector Fort is already on thin ice with Flick, who's enforcing strict discipline ahead of a high-stakes season. Lamine Yamal's legal situation is still unfolding, but it's a distraction neither the player nor the club needs. And at least some good news. Camp Nou is on track to host matches again in September, starting with Valencia. The pressure is on, and Barcelona's margin for error is smaller than ever. Will this summer rebuild be the one that defines the future of the club? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below. Which of these stories surprised you the most? Let us know, and as always, Visca el Barça.